Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 10. I can't believe we're already more than halfway through the course. I know we have about 4 more weeks to go, so you guys keep trucking along. You're doing awesome. So you have 2 assignments that are due this week, and the first one is the discussion forum, where you are going to respond to and describe a client encounter where you employed the strengths perspective. Was it difficult? And if so, what made it difficult? How did it affect your interaction? And how might this interaction have been different without your use of the strengths perspective? And so you want to make sure that you answer each of the questions so you can receive the maximum amount of points. But you also want to make sure that you have your initial post posted by this Thursday by 11:59 and your response post by this Sunday at 11:59. So in your response prompt, you're going to respond to at least one of your classmates who does not have any responses yet, and comment on your peer's description of the use of the strengths perspective, and did they provide adequate detail to illustrate the impact of its use. So how do you think, how did you encounter may have been different if the strengths perspective was not employed. So you're kind of going to give them feedback and kind of talk about the strengths and maybe some other areas where this might be also helpful with the client that they're serving. So this is really a segue into what we're working on this week, which is the strengths perspective in social work. And it seems like it's pretty straightforward, thinking about what a client's strengths are and trying to support them and empower them to move past adversity and become resilient individuals in the community. However, sometimes some clients are a little bit more challenging than others, so it's not always ideal to point out their strengths initially. Sometimes it can be harder because some of the more precedent issues are more obvious. If you're dealing with someone with substance abuse or homelessness, a lot of their barriers and some of their struggles can be, have underlying strengths that sometimes it takes a while to get to know their story to be able to pull those strengths from them. So I can give you guys a really great example. I was working with a female student who is in 5th grade this year at my current agency, and I work with kids who have mental health disorders but also behavioral issues. They kind of marry one another, and the school had been having some difficulty with her for years, ever since she was about in 1st grade. And so no one was really successful until my company came in to kind of provide clinical services for this student. And she actually began to make great strides because, one, she had a relationship with a counselor in which she trusted, but 2, I started to utilize the strengths-based perspective and really focused on what are the things that she's good at. And some of those things consisted of art. She was very artsy. She was actually very religious. And believe it or not, even though she was displaying some stuff that didn't align with her religious beliefs, I kind of used that as a segue to kind of empower her to make healthier choices. And so we got her involved at a church that she would attend sporadically in her community, and also made her a part of the church. So she started to join the choir and do some praise dancing. And that really made her feel better about herself, but also gave her the encouragement she needed to be successful in the classroom. So not only is, pointing out someone's strength important, but it is important to get them to a place where they feel better about themselves based on the things that they are also good at, the things that can kind of come natural and that they can build upon. And so that you can utilize the strengths to kind of power some of the barriers or adversity that they are facing. So that was just one particular example that I wanted to share because I thought it was so powerful that this student, made very to little change throughout her young life until we started to kind of utilize some of the strengths perspective. So it can be very powerful when it is used and when it's used consistently. So that's your first assignment that is due. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. Your second assignment that is due is your field reflection log. And you guys did send me one a couple weeks ago where you had the first one that you had to send forth, and it was really good. Most of you guys did a fabulous job. And the only thing that I would kind of work on is making sure that you guys answer each part of the question. So sometimes you may be asked a couple of different questions in one segment. So making sure that, for example, describe supervision received since your last reflection, indicate how many times you met, what the content of the discussions involved, and how you prepared for the supervisory meetings. So that within itself is a couple of different questions, but also you want to make sure that you hit every focal point so that you can receive the maximum amount of points. You know, it's pretty straightforward. I didn't have any pressing concerns with your previous reflection log, so you can just answer them pretty straightforward as they are presented. So this is actually due Sunday by 11:59. So if you guys have any questions or concerns about your field reflection log, please let me know. In addition to that, you also have your peer-to-peer discussions that are due by the end of week 14. So you have a minimum of 5. So if you haven't started already, please make sure you're keeping up with and keeping track with all of your peer-to-peer discussions so that you can have a total of 5 by the end of the semester. We will also be going live this Wednesday at 7 p.m. So if you're interested in joining our live field discussion, please RSVP via email through Engage and let me know if you would like to attend. I know we haven't been able to have class because you guys are really busy. So I also want to respect that, but still kind of open up the gates for you guys to kind of get a chance to talk with me live. So it's totally to your discretion. And then next week, I will actually be on vacation Wednesday, so we will not have class next Wednesday. But I will also send you guys a follow-up email. And then the last thing I wanted to discuss is that I will have all of the assignments graded for week 8 and week 9 to you by the end of this week on Sunday by 11:59. So you guys can look out for that. I just wanted to thank you for being so patient as I go through many of your field visits. So if I haven't met with you already, I'll be meeting with you in the next 2 weeks and we'll be wrapping up the field visits. But you guys are doing amazing work. I'm really impressed with all of the coursework that I've been seeing, but also the feedback that I'm getting from your field instructors in the field about how your internships are going. So keep up the great work. Keep pushing along. We only have 4 more weeks left before we get a little bit of a break. So I look forward to hearing from you guys and reading your work. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.